guys, welcome back to the stream. It is Monday. Currently, you're sitting on March 14th. As usual, I welcome thee to the stream, and we start off today's segment with a little bit of gaming news and trailers, as we usually do. So, catching up on what was on the weekend and what also came up today, we're gonna jump straight into some gaming goodiness. We don't have a whole lot, but we got a couple of things. So let's see. First off, we got Flintlock, the Siege of Dawn. I got no idea what this is or how loud it's gonna be.
Down in the dust where black and
Okay. This looks cool. I like that bottle. This might also be a little bit DMCable. What is that creature?
Down in the depths of the wounded ground, there at the gates of the golden crown, we bathe in the blood of that rising sun.
Oh boy. Skeletons rise up. Oh, that was cool. Cinematic looks good. Whoa, that's too loud. Holy fucking shit. What the fuck, guys? Why would you do that at the end?
Of the powders blow and laugh in the
Why? I couldn't even see this. What was this? What is this pigeon? Okay. PlayStation, Xbox, Game Pass. Nice. Big thumbs up on that. Steam and Epic this year. I got no idea what it is, but you can wishlist it now. Might be something Soulsy. Something Souls-like. Here's a new trailer for Warframe. Angels of... Everything's so loud today. Angels of the Zariman. Zariman. Oh, that was cool. Who do we got? Warframe's getting better and better and better and better. These kind of things. Coming April. Okay, that's not so long. Too long of a wait. Good for them. Good for them. More Warframe content, yes please. Okay. Here, we're gonna start off, and we're gonna look... Apparently, there's a lot of Dead Space hype going on about. I have no idea. I've never played Dead Space. I've seen it a little bit. I know of it. I know it's kind of like a alien-y... space horror kind of shooter, adventure, puzzly, something. It's a combination of things. Other than that, like I said, I've never played it. I know it has that horror element a little bit. It's like eerie and weird, and There's we're just gonna have to take a look at the trailers. There's a remake or something like that. Not exactly sure. I think it's a remake. Whatever the cause, we're getting a new Dead Space, even if it's a remake or whatever. It's new, so new graphics, new shit, new everything. And this is an audio deep dive. We got 4 parts to go. So here's
my name is
here's part
Calico,
1.
and I'm the senior VO designer on Dead Space. In the original Dead Space, Isaac's breathing and heartbeat was such an integral part of the player's connection with Isaac in building immersion and emphasizing the horror experience.
Okay.
Breathing is a huge part of Dead Space and horror films in general.
Best with headphones,
that enhance
chat.
the
So
feeling of
put
being
on your
alone
headbuds.
and vulnerable. For Dead Space, we're looking back at the core functionality of the original and not only bringing that experience forward, but we're finding ways we can improve it to a level that exceeds expectations in today's generation of games. In the original Dead Space, you would hear Isaac's breathing change and heartbeat ramp up over time when sprinting, when low on health, low on oxygen, during combat, and spike for jump scares or scripted events. All of that will be there. A couple of improvements, for example.
Jump scares.
In the original, when Isaac was sprinting or injured, you would hear additional grunts to emphasize his level of exertion play simultaneously over top of the base breathing rate.
Interesting.
Exertions, such as melee and stomp, also played over top of the breathing rather than interrupt it.
Okay, I got another copyright claim. God damn
If
it.
you listened carefully, you were hearing 2 voices at the same time. The exerted breaths didn't interject the base breathing. For Dead Space, we're building a system that supports transitioning respiratory rates through fatigued and low health states seamlessly.
That's
As
interesting.
another example, in the original, when Isaac was gasping for air while running out of oxygen, exiting the vacuum of space or using an oxygen refill would instantaneously and unnaturally revert Isaac back to a calm breathing state as if nothing had happened.
Exiting vacuum.
Uh-huh.
For Dead Space, you can expect to hear Isaac catch his breath as he recovers from a lack of oxygen. Let's have a listen to this prototyped in game with some placeholder content.
Huh. Interesting.
And as Isaac catches his breath, you hear it transition back smoothly into the base breathing cycle. For Dead Space, we're building what is called the Alive system. It encompasses all
okay.
components
They're
of
really
Isaac's
going
breathing
on
and
this
heart rate,
whole immersion
vocal
thing, right?
exertions, and dialogue influenced by a variety of driving gameplay
I can see
features.
the idea
The
behind
limbic system
doing
is the
these
part of the
videos
brain
because
that controls
a lot of people
behavioral
are
and
not going to
emotional
catch on to
responses,
them.
such as anxiety and fear. When you watch a horror movie or play a scary game, the limbic system can trigger a release of adrenaline into the body, causing a physical response, such as increased heart rate. In our game, adrenaline is derived from various values driven by external factors that have a direct
Holy
influence
shit.
on Isaac's heart rate BPM. External factors that act as adrenaline are the combat difficulty value, scripted events and jump scares, Isaac's fatigue level, Isaac's oxygen level, and Isaac's health. We want Isaac to reflect how anyone would physically react in the scenario he's placed in, and vice versa, use that to influence the player to feel the same response. For Isaac's scripted
That's
dialogue
kinda
lines,
hard.
where the player maintains full control of Isaac, we will have 3 variations of each line to pick from based on his current state. A normal version, a fatigued version, and an injured version. Let's have a listen to how Isaac's fatigue level or being in a low health state can impact Isaac's scripted dialogue in-game.
Nicole? It's me.
Low oxygen.
Nicole? It's me.
Okay. And injured?
Nicole?
It's me.
Making up
Okay,
Isaac's
that's nice.
vitals are his heart rate, respiratory rate, oxygen level,
I
and
felt the
health.
difference there.
As Isaac is 43 years old, I studied average heart and respiratory rates for his age group at different levels of fitness to land on Isaac's base heart rate of
Really?
70 BPM to build up from. As heart rate increases,
Well,
his
they did say
respiratory rate
average and not
increases
me.
as well. I broke
I
down
would
the
be like,
respiratory rates into 7 breathing cycles mapped out
Who
across
put
7
me here? Get
correlating
me
heart
out
rate
of this joint.
BPMs.
I'm
Each
dying here.
cycle also has fatigued and injured modifiers. Alright, let's have a listen to how Isaac's breathing is behaving in-game. One thing to note, the breathing and exertion samples that you'll be hearing in-game are not gunner right. These are placeholder samples that we recorded for testing all of this functionality out in-game as we were building it. And here on screen is our alive monitor. This is
There's
some
so
debug
much of this
information that we put
babble that
together
I
to
do
see
not
Isaac's
understand. It's
current
flying
breathing
right over my
cycle,
head,
his heart
chat.
rate, what
Right
his
over
breathing
it.
state is, if he's inhaling or exhaling, what his fatigue level is, his oxygen level, his health, and the current
It's interesting
combat
to
intensity.
see this
And if
point
we
of
have
view
Isaac's sprint
in,
here,
in the video making
over time you'll start to see his fatigue
universe.
level
I
increase.
or we don't often get to see
And
these
when
kind of
Isaac's
tests
fatigue level
and
gets past a certain
how they
threshold, you'll
make
start to
a
hear
game,
fatigued breaths,
what the
exerted breaths
steps are.
start to mix
So
in
it's
with his
definitely
regular
interesting
base
to
breathing
see behind the scenes, unfinished, unkempt, unedited, basically unfluffed previews or showcases. The way they can change everything and modify
when Isaac stops
and
sprinting, you'll see his fatigue level start to go down, his heart rate will come down, and his respiratory rate will slow down as well.
interesting. I don't even want to know how
Here we have Isaac in
what
a very
game
low health
designers
state. He's injured.
or code
And when he
writers,
moves
game
around in this
designers,
state,
I
we'll
don't
start
even know how to
introduce,
call all of
little
them.
winces of pain mixed
What
into
do
his
they
breathing
dream
cycle.
at night? Can you imagine whatever they dream, they might see those sorts of panels like behind
And
or
what's
next
really
to their
great about
wife
the way
or
we've built
whatever
this
they're
system is that Isaac can be
he
in
didn't do
both
the
an
dishes.
injured state and fatigued
And
state at the same
he
time.
has a conscience,
So
he
hearing
dreams
those
about that.
injured winces,
His wife
those
comes there
fatigued
and he's
breaths
like
mixed in with
monitoring
his
her
regular
heartbeat
breathing
because
actually
she's
sounds quite
angry and
natural.
he sees that. No, just an example. Do you know relationship to something that happened to me? Nope, not so ever. Nope. Nope. Never.
And wrapping up the Alive system, we have exertions. These are single one-off exertion events that interrupt or interject between base breathing loops. For example, melee, stomp, hit reactions, and
Okay.
death. Exertions for the most part will end in exhales and restart the breathing loop back up on an inhale. However, the breathing system will have the flexibility to have the option to start the breathing loop back up on an exhale or
Do you guys
inhale,
imagine
depending on the content.
how much stuff
Thanks
went
for listening.
just
I hope you
in
enjoyed
the
this sneak peek into some of the things we're
breathing
doing with audio
of the
to make Isaac
character?
come alive.
The breathing. I don't even want to know how much one character takes to build completely. How much did Horizon take, or Elden Ring, or whatever? Holy shit. This is part 2. Audio Occlusion.
Hi everyone.
This one's a
This is
shorter
Jeff
one.
Donnelly, lead sound designer and lead audio tech on Dead Space Remake. Today, we will be showing some of the technical improvements we have made for the remake. Later in this video, we will have Mike Dominiak, technical sound designer, and Diego Marayo, senior audio programmer, showing you in-game example, comparing between DS1 and the remake, as well as going over the technical
Wait,
implementation we have seen.
PS1? Did he just say
But before going to
PS1?
the details, I would take a bit of time to go over some of the basic audio concepts
How old
we
is
will
this
be
game,
referring in
chat?
this video. The occlusion is when a sound is behind a wall, a door, or a large object that completely blocks the direct and reflected indirect signals. In this example, the sound cannot reach the listener, so we say that the sound is completely occluded or blocked. In Dead Space, most walls are thick metal, so if the sounds are outside the room and the door is closed, so any exterior sounds would be silenced. In other cases, we will have glass windows on which we can tell the system to let through a little bit of the sound. So the result would be a muffled, filtered direct signal and a muffled indirect diffuse signal.
Interesting.
For the obstruction, the difference is that some of the signal could potentially reach the listener. In this example, the sound is behind an object or wall, but some indirect signal could reach the listener by bending around the corners of the object or by being reflected on the walls. The result will be a muffled direct signal and clear unfiltered indirect signal. The
Holy
portals.
shit.
We refer to portals as volumes we place on doors or placed at specific locations in the levels. And at runtime, the occlusion node made by Diego selects the most
What
logical
is that
portal to play
tablet?
the sound from, along with sending the
What is
corrected
that tablet
position,
that they're
and
showing
also
this
sends
whole
the
thing
correct
on?
path distance for the sound to reach the listener. The result is
Why?
a more accurate
Why do
sound
that as a
positioning
graphic?
and distance attenuation and filtering. Alright, let's now listen to how these concepts applies in the context of the game.
Let's start with reminding ourselves what the original Dead Space sounded like. Looking at the headbanger corridor, you can hear as soon as the door opens, the sound is coming from the right side of the screen. The sound should realistically be traveling down the corridor to Isaac, but standing here, you can actually hear the sound coming through the wall.
Cool.
As we come around the corner, you will notice minimal audible changes to the sound position and obstruction. In the remake, there will be much more noticeable mix changes when standing here and the sound is not obstructed, to when I move around the corner and the sound is actually
That was a
blocked.
guy banging his head against the wall.
Now, let's take a look at our in-progress remake. You can hear the sound is now coming from the left, at the end of the corridor. The orange boxes you are seeing are portals we placed in the level, and the lines between them are the path the sound is traveling to get to Isaac.
Oh, that's so cool.
We lock the sound to a third of the portal from the direction it is coming from, to keep the correct directionality.
Yeah, I can't
We
really
also
hear
use the
much.
same system for sound passing through to an attached room.
Little star, how I wonder what you are. Up above the world so high.
As the door closes, we start applying mix changes to the sound.
In the sky, when the blazing sun.
When the door is fully closed, we move the sound source to the window and apply even heavier mix changes.
That's so cool, man. From a sound designing aspect, this is actually very cool to see.
Traveler in the dark, thanks you for your little spark.
What is she singing? So those are nice consoles.
If you did not twinkle, twinkle, little star.
I have a tough time today, chat.
I wonder what
You gotta appreciate my sacrifice. I have a huge headache. Back to sound design.
when the blazing sun is gone. When
Okay.
then you
Since this room has no window, we are cutting the sound completely as the door closes.
twinkle.
Oh,
We have the ability to choose what sounds are let through the doors, so not every sound will be called if we do not want them to be.
interesting. There's a lot of walking around in this game, I know.
The system also works vertically.
The way the system works is by creating a map of the areas that are reachable by the player considering the surrounding openings like doors and windows. Then, when a new sound starts playing, we can check in the map we have previously generated if the sound is audible and
Did
what
they
is
just switch the narrator all of a sudden?
We update this map at regular intervals but much less often than the sounds themselves, because it's expensive and its data does not change very often.
He got
But
God
having
chat,
this
he was
information
replaced by a
allows us to
machine.
calculate a more physically accurate position of the sound very quickly.
See? Told you. Error in the code. Moving on to part 3, we got the weapon sound effects comparison.
Hello, I'm Michael Dominic, the technical
Hello.
audio artist on Dead Space. I will be showing you the in-progress plasma cutter and pulse rifle today. Let's get started with the plasma cutter and have a listen to what we are remaking.
Plasma cutter. What weapon is that?
Now let's have a listen to where we are at with our updated version.
I don't know which one I like better. Okay, that
When
was
we are
cool.
designing a weapon, we approach them in many different layers. All of the red and blue boxes outlined in this picture represent another layer that is being played on each shot of the weapon. Now let's take a listen to some of these layers one at a time, so we can really hear each element that's being played.
Okay. I mean, for me, each layer sounds good.
That's all we have for the plasma
That's
cutter
really
today.
cool.
But let's take a sneak peek at comparing the original pulse rifle with our in-progress version.
That's an interesting looking weapon. It's not bad. Oh, those were some slick sounds. I like the reload sounds more than the firing. And lastly, we got part 4, which is the atmospheric walkthrough.
The Dead Space experience.
Wait, what? I can't hear them. Can't hear them, chat. Oh, that's so creepy. Clonky clonk. Fuck you. Fuck you. No. Nope. Nope. I'm already getting excited. Hell no. Get me back to my pixel world. Oh, hell no. Why did he keep shooting at his feet? Oh, hell no, chat. Jump. Oh, that guy was playing. He's not a player. He's a bad player. Okay, moving on. We got something that's coming up. I've heard mixed reviews, mixed thoughts about Ghostwire Tokyo. So let's watch this and make our own opinion. Here we got a small little video. Ghostwire Tokyo, high hopes after the first 5 hours.
Ghostwire Tokyo is almost upon us, and I know that I've loved the trailers, but I'm still not quite sure what kind of a game this is. So I am joined by Jean-Luc Saipi, who has been playing Ghostwire Tokyo, and he's going to tell me all about it. Jean-Luc, thank you for joining me.
Oh, this looks...
Thanks for having me. Yeah, I got to check out the first 2 chapters of a preview build of the game. We're able to kind of show and talk about the second chapter, which is huge. I actually haven't even finished the second chapter after a good 5-6 hours in.
The map looks huge.
I will say that I also was just
do.
not really sure what this game was. I knew I loved its vibes, but I wasn't sure what you were going to do with it. And now that I have played it, I can say that what I have played, I absolutely love. And if they can keep up the momentum, this might end up being one of my favorite games this year.
Wow, okay, so big
Really?
praise. And yeah, so Ghostwire Tokyo, I guess the elevator pitch is it's a new one from horror master Shinji Mikami. Very kind of like a stylized Tokyo. People have gone missing, and you have these kind of awesome powers. It's in first person, these awesome powers that you can use. But
Why did we blow
I've
up
watched
that
the
car?
trailers, and I still don't really get a grasp of what you actually do in this game beyond using these kind of elemental powers. So let's dive into it. What is the setup? What do you do in it?
Okay, so it's basically an open world game. If you're familiar with Evil Within 2 and the way that game kind of handled open world, where it was the small kind of pockets of open world where it's okay, I get to kind of explore for a bit, and then it would maybe kind of go back into something more linear, and then it would kind of open back up again. This feels more like an evolution of that, where it is kind of these pockets of open world you get at a time, but this time it's all one massive map that is kind of connected, where in Evil Within 2 it was a couple different
So you
maps.
kind of
So at the beginning of the
whatever.
game, you are confined to this very small section of Shibuya, which is where the game takes place. The rest of the map is covered in this deadly fog that will kill you if you try and go anywhere. So it isn't like you just have this unlimited freedom to go anywhere you want. But as you progress through the main story, you will find these torii gates that when you cleanse will expel the fog and reveal more of the map. So you're basically slowly going through the map, cleansing these areas and revealing more parts of it. Each
I
time
don't
you
know
do that,
if
you'll
that's
open
necessarily
up
open
now there's some
world.
side
I mean,
quests over here,
it
now there's,
is,
some
but it kind of forces you to do specific things if you want to go further.
shops and stuff like that. So
That's
it
kinda
is
cool.
open world, but it is designed in a way where you kind of take it in small chunks. And because of that, it never feels massive in an overwhelming way. It feels very dense, where it's I got this small little district, but there's a lot to do in this district, and you kind of pick it clean, and then you decide, okay,
Seems
I'm ready to
kinda
move
empty.
on.
I'm not
And then you go to
gonna
the next
lie.
district, and you kind of keep doing that.
Okay,
I've
so
heard that about the game.
Are those
It
Torii gates,
seems kind
is
of
there any
empty
kind
a
of
little
leveling
bit.
system? Like, could I just not go
A
around
little
and just
bit rough.
cleanse every single one?
So there's like some Torii gates that you can go cleanse that kind of seem to be more related to like this is probably like got more optional side stuff. A lot of like the major sections are tied to
I mean, I get it.
story.
So
it is
the
more like
world
I'm ready
has
to
kind
progress
of
the story.
disappeared.
I'm gonna go kind of like cleanse.
The monsters should be everywhere,
and
right?
unlock sort of like the next part of the map. But there are points where it kind of opens up and says like, hey, if you want, you can go over here and you can cleanse this area, and it'll probably unlock a side quest, like collectibles you can find and stuff like that.
Awesome. So like these side quests, are they meaty? Or is it just like, hey, go here, go collect this?
The side quests are great. Again, if you familiar with Evil Within 2, how that game worked with side quests, where they were essentially these like really cool little vignettes where you would just you would find like a house and you'd be like, I'm gonna go in this house, and you would kind of get this really cool little moment revolving around like a certain enemy type or a certain little story, and they all felt very unique. And that is exactly how it works in this game. Is you'll be like, I need to go cleanse this bathhouse that is flooding and it's been corrupted by evil spirits. Or there's this cursed doll that killed this spirit and he wants me to go find the doll and burn it, and you have to go hunt the doll down. There's never been any repeating content for me. It's every quest has been its own unique little thing with its own unique little story, in taking place in its own unique environment. And that's been like the coolest part about it, because it feels really, you want to go do all that stuff because you know that everything you do is gonna be like its own unique little moment.
So you mentioned the Evil Within 2 a couple times.
That's weird.
And, kind of influences from that game. Shinji Mikami's probably best known for Resident Evil 4. Is there any influence from that game or any of his others?
So as far as what type of game this is, I wouldn't call it a straight up survival horror in the way like an Evil Within or Resident Evil is. It's not trying to scare you. It is trying to creep you out, though. Like, it is a very creepy game.
Apparently.
The atmosphere of the city is just gorgeously haunting. Like, the whole, setup is everyone kind of disappeared. So it's just like, imagine the city of Shibuya, but like, there's just piles of clothes everywhere where people were, but everything is still running. So you still have, like music playing in the shops and all the street signs are up, but just like nobody's there. And it's really well realized. As someone who's been to Shibuya, I mean, we both went on a trip once. It is amazing how well realized it is. It looks exactly like Shibuya, and just walking around. Where it feels like it's
they did
influenced
want
by
to do that.
Mikami's style is in
To make it
combat.
as
The combat, if you've
close
seen
to,
it, you're using these weird like hand jutsus
the real thing.
to fight these spirits. Essentially, your hands are different like spirit guns you have.
Oh, hell yeah. Oh, wait, so I'm not gonna get told off for doing like finger guns.
No, you were essentially like finger gun shooting these spirits, and so you'll start with like this basic one that's like, okay, it does this basic kind of like blast, and then you get one that does this more powerful fire shotgun blast. It feels very Resident Evil-y, is that you have this balance of, okay, I have these different powers with these different ammo types that can kind of work against different enemies, and there are a absolute ton of enemy variety that they're slowly introducing, and the balance becomes, okay, that enemy is going to be like shooting projectiles. I should probably take them out right away, but I have this enemy who's like a rush type. That stuff all feels very Mikami when you're playing it. I will say the combat does feel very simple, especially in the beginning. When you just have the one power, it's like, yep, I just shoot the guy and they die. As you get more powers and as you get more enemies, you can like feel the complexity like coming in, and that's where I'm very excited to see where it goes, is like as it progresses, and hopefully I think it can keep that momentum up. But even when it's simple, it feels really satisfying. Just the hand animations are so well done. Every time you can knock an enemy into a state where then you use your like ethereal weaving to like pull their core out, and you'll do this move where you use these like wires to just like snap them. It's the most satisfying animation. Every time you do it, it feels so good.
Yeah, apparently. Yeah. Nice.
even though the combat is
that feels
simple, I
nice.
think
It
just
looks nice.
they've nailed the presentation of it so much that you just like you feel so good every time you do it.
Awesome. So you've been playing for a good few hours now. What are sort of the small? And we talked about the big things, I suppose, but what are the small things that have been sticking out to you?
This game feels like it has a lot of like really cool like attention to detail moments. So I mentioned shops a lot. All of the shops have been taken over by these cat yokai that have come into the city. The game has a database that will actually like break down all the different like spirits and stuff, and can actually give you like a history lesson on like the real world sort of like inspiration for them, which is great. But for the cat yokai, they were like, no one knows why they came to Shibuya, but we think they're trying to get some ethereal catnip, and they're trying to raise money for it, which is why they've taken over all the shops, which I love. I think that's so cute. There's a little shopkeeper jingle at like the Family Mart style shops, which is lovely.
Dude, that cat is so cool. It also has two tails.
One of the cats made a Resident Evil 4 reference, which was great. There are dogs you can find that you can not only pet, but if you have dog food, you can give them dog food, and then they'll go find like money for you. There's like little tanuki that you have to go find that like disguise themselves, and you'll find like a trash can with like a tail, and you're like, that's a tanuki hidden there.
My dog never found money.
It's both creepy, but it's like they're having a lot of fun with the yokai spirit aspects of it. Also, we haven't really talked much about the story, mostly because I kind of want to keep it vague, but the basic premise is that you play as a young boy named Akito, who is been saved by a spirit named KK that has possessed his body, that allows him to use his powers. So they kind of have this Jujutsu Kaisen, almost antagonistic relationship at first, and as you play through the game, like they kind of get to know each other. They have a lot of dialogue between them, even incidental stuff. Like, for example, I just randomly hopped on top of a car, and then they started talking about
that cat is awesome.
how weird it is that like I can just like jump on a car now because no one's around. They clearly put a lot of effort into just like adding this little dialogue that kind of builds their characterization. And there's a lot of other like little tiny touches. You can buy clothing and change your outfit if you want.
The
have a music player
sense.
that you can just like collect different like J-pop and stuff, and then you can just listen to it. If you're like, this game's too creepy for me, I want to put some J-pop on. What is impressing me and making me just like really having a fun time with it is that you can tell there's so much love put into the game, and that they put in this side quest, or they put in this like cat shopkeeper because they just thought it was cool and they think it would be fun to have it in the game.
Obviously. It's a weird looking telephone booth. Especially that thing on the bottom.
I'm really enjoying my time with it, but for me, I think the big question is going to be whether it can like maintain that momentum for its entire length. I'll be very curious with that. But if it can keep that
I wonder
up,
if you have boss battles.
I think this game will be really cool.
Well, I'm very excited to play.
Or
It won't have
if they're
long
just gonna
to
throw
wait. We're gonna have a bunch more on
a
Ghostwire
lot of
Tokyo,
enemies
so
in an
make sure
arena
you keep
style
your eyes peeled to GameSpot, sub,
situation.
and like the video if you are so inclined. So I'll catch you next time.
Thank you, GameSpot. Oh, sorry. We got another little tidbit from this one. This one's the Ghostwire Tokyo 8 minutes of open world PS5 performance mode gameplay. Okay, boom boom, and boom boom, you make money. Okay, you destroy these things because apparently that helps you get something. And enemies appeared out of nowhere because they were not there. Oh yeah, they just straight out appear out of nowhere. This trailer is very loud. Not entirely sure why you smash those ethereal things that are between the worlds or whatever. Oh, apparently we have like 19 charges of that. Oh, so those green things charge up your skills. It's like your ammo. He's a bad shot. He's a very bad shot, chat.
こいつはこれでいいだろう。意外と優しいとこあるね。
That's a lot of spirits absorbed. Because I need a hit. Oh, this is so weird. What is a katashiro? Oh, the little paper charm thing. Got it. You already have 13 of them. Why would you buy another? Why not show us how you bought dog food or something like that? Hey, doggy. Doggy. What the fuck? That would be so cool to have. Just Matata. Oh.
気をつけろ。百鬼夜行だ。見込まれるぞ。ダメだ。やばいぞ。あいつらが作り出したよどみに飲み込まれちまった。戦って切り抜けるしかないぞ。
It just feels like an arena. Ow. Okay, that hurt a little bit. Is that a block? That kind of feels cool. Okay, he's slowly getting ammunition basically for his next powers. He's only got 2 more shots with the water style. Okay, he just got a bunch of green pellets. Now he switched back to green. He got the elements basically. I don't know what the green one was, but he got a water and fire, and I believe this is nature, maybe. A wind. Wind? Yeah, wind. Don't remember if there's more than these, but these 3 colors are kind of consistent. Ah, that's gotta hurt. He's almost dead. I wonder what that 2 over there beneath his health is. We got the 0-2, and it looks like items. Like there's a mochi or a beverage. I'm guessing we can drink those? Yeah, there we go. So it's a consumable. they're all in there, packed together. That was kind of risky. Are you a sitting duck when you do that, or can you move around, or like move around and do those hand signals? He was slowly moving to the left there, but it was minor, very minor. No. That guy tried to Chuck Norris us. Yeah, the game doesn't feel that bad or that hard, but it could get hard very fast. I'm not saying this guy is the best player right now. I'm probably gonna want to do some combos, especially when fighting against multiple enemies. Probably gonna want to do some AoE combos as fast as possible, and then very quickly take out some of the remaining one-ups. Like that, something like that, yeah. Ow. Oh. Talk about aim. How many spears are they gonna throw at you? Okay, there we go. Do they just take you out of that? So he saw a ghost parade and then he was teleported in that arena. I can see why people say they have mixed feelings about this game. Now, I can definitely see it. It's gonna be interesting. I'm curious. I'm gonna have to watch some streams of people playing it and see what they think about, and how engaged are we gonna be as viewers. I'm guessing if the story is also good, and you know, the added content of your favorite streamer on top of that can push the game a little bit further than just, you know, quietly sitting there and mashing your buttons. It might actually be more enjoyable to watch someone dick around or fuck around in one of these games, or shit on it or whatever, or rage, or, you know, it adds to the whole value of the experience of watching the playthrough. That's just my opinion. Okay, moving on, we got Dark Nemesis Infinite Quest. I honestly don't remember. Have I seen something from this thing? Wow, why is everything so loud today? Oh, I think I saw something from this thing. I think this is an MMO, if I'm not mistaken. A little bit of science fiction together with And there we go. With fantasy and MMO madness. Character design looks sick. That looked like a combination. Tracer and what was the falcon thing? I forgot. That's just straight up an angel Valkyrie. No, just an angel. Okay, big guy. Wait a minute, did he just change completely? Farah, yeah, Farah, definitely. That felt like a raid boss. Oh, you guys ain't seen shit yet. Download. Oh, what? It's a mobile game? Okay, go get your blue stacks up. I ain't even gonna bother with that. Moving on, we got The Cruel King and the Great Hero Nintendo Switch review.
From the creative and artistic minds of Nippon Ichi Studios comes another charming and emotional tale, this time embarking on the quest to become the great hero. This hand-drawn living storybook recounts the tale of the adventurous girl living with the Dragon King and his monster subjects. Are you going to be a hero and listen to this charming tale, or is it a cruel waste of your time?
like this.
Well, thank you to the publishing team for the review code, and now, let's find out.
Ah, his stick broke. Yeah, go check this guy out. He does a lot of Nintendo stuff. A fearsome dragon known as the Dragon King once ruled over the entire world. That is until he was dethroned by a young valiant hero. Not wishing to take the Demon King's life, the hero instead severed one of the Demon King's horns, the source of all his power. As the dragon lay dejected and wounded, the hero accompanied him in the days following as he healed. With each passing day, the Dragon King became less terrifying, and before they knew it, the two, once adversaries, had become friends. On one fateful day though, the hero sustained a fatal wound. He asks one final favour from his friend, the dragon, to raise his child well. The Demon King, never more sure about anything else in his life, declared that this girl would be his chance at redemption. I really like the story actually. The juxtaposition of a sweet and innocent child growing up in the depths of a dragon's lair had me invested in the events that would take place as the story continued. It's definitely an interesting and well told tale. Okay.
The Cruel King and the Great Hero changes the formula up from one of the developers' previous games, The Liar Princess and the Blind Prince, which, while strikingly similar in terms of art style, was a puzzle platformer. Here we are treated to a side-scrolling RPG. Nice. From the first couple of hours playing, the game reminded me of the classic Paper Mario on the N64 in terms of humour, characters and some of the mechanics. The protagonist, named Yu, will travel on a side-scrolling plane and traverse to other sections of the biome via openings on the surrounding areas, usually shown with a yellow hue. You will travel to the monster village, which is home to different animal tribes, and there you will carry out a variety of side quests known as acts of kindness. Although these are not compulsory, they do add more playtime to the gameplay, as well as gaining new rewards, money and star fragments needed to unlock a collection of artwork. You will be accompanied by different characters that support you during battle, although you can only travel with one of these at a time. Their skills also help you outside of battles via digging out treasure from specific spots or floating over a windy chasm to cross to the other side. There is an element of Metroidvania adding to the gameplay to a certain extent, as the limit to number of companions mean that you will have to return with the right one in order to obtain what you need. This can become cumbersome and break the pacing of the game slightly, although some may see it as a good incentive to return to areas with the right companions and experiment. Your companions can be equipped with a weapon, armour and 2 accessories just like the protagonist, with these items returning to your inventory when they leave your side. Battle is triggered via random encounters and will pit you against a number of foes at any one time. you can use your standard attacks or use energy to perform special commands, a staple of many RPGs. Your team will generate 1 energy point per character per round, meaning that you can then either spend these on swift commands or bank them up to unleash a stronger attack later. For the most part, the battles are enjoyable enough and you do require some attention. Enemies tend to outnumber you, and although the gameplay is quite easy and straightforward, just spamming the same attacks with reckless abandon can bring up the game over screen before you know it. Pulling up the map will show your location, the different routes, and where the objectives of each side quest are located.
That's a map.
You will also be able to use pink ponds to walk to different areas at will. All of the creatures you decimate during your adventure will end up on your monster decks. As the name suggests, this is where you catalogue their location, strength, weaknesses, and even what loot they drop. This money, or shells as it is known here, can be used to buy restoration items and armour, and your team will learn new moves after levelling up a few times. Once you have carried out everything you could on that day, the protagonist will return to the Dragon King's cave to rest, and there the king will retell her favourite bedtime story, getting her to sleep to carry out more training and adventuring the next day. There is a lot to carry out, especially if you are a completionist. There are many badges to collect, there is artwork to uncover and citizens to help. My biggest gripe would be the constant random encounters within the game. It is of course a staple of many turn-based RPGs across the years, but eventually the random encounter fatigue definitely kicks in. This is somewhat exacerbated by only being able to travel with a single companion, as I said earlier, who probably only has a few good offensive moves. It isn't a huge issue, but the ability to travel with more allies would have possibly made the game more bearable, even when encountering wave after wave of enemies. Movement is achieved via tilting the left stick, and in some but not all areas you will start to run the more you tilt it. A slight missed opportunity would have been to have had a run button, giving the player the option to navigate the protagonist at their leisure. Having a context walk or run feature did slightly hamper the pacing. The Cruel King and the Great Hero is full of charm and will make the player grow fond of the world and its protagonist. It may be a little too simple for RPG veterans and there are a lot of random battles, but on balance, gameplay gets 16 out of 20. Controls are simple and work well, both in handheld and docked. I would have preferred a time button pressing mechanic during battles, similar again to those found in games such as Paper Mario, just to keep me fully invested during the battle sequences. However, this is a personal preference, and Controls also score 16 out of 20. In terms of the visuals, the hand-drawn storybook aesthetic really complements the narrative and the gameplay. The use of parallax scrolling makes both the background and foreground feel dynamic, and there is a lot of detail in every inch of the landscape, bringing this sketched out well to life. There are all kinds of creatures, big and small, populating the different biomes of this world, and some react to your approach by either fleeing or remaining in place. The Dragon King himself will follow you during her first hour or so, and you'll see him sneaking in the background. This also adds to the charm during battles when the protagonist believes she is able to invoke flames to her weapon, but it's actually the dragon assisting her with its fire breath. Hand-drawn, inked and watercolour illustrations further add to the charm. Some story segments have been illustrated using only pencils, and it is a clever way to help distinguish them from real-time events. Even if the style isn't for you, there will be one or two elements I'm sure that will capture your attention and bring a smile to your face. Watching the protagonist express emotions in all too typical anime style is both funny and heartwarming, especially when she runs with that smile on her face. All of the monsters in the village belong to different tribes and represent anthropomorphic versions of lizards, sheep, wolves and birds. There is enough variety to distinguish them individually, and enemies tend to have elemental variations which manifest according to their environment. Text size is legible overall, albeit on some occasions it's spilled out of the speech bubbles, as well as there being a couple of grammatical hiccups. During my playthrough I encountered 2 bouts of stuttering when going in or out of combat, with the latter actually crashing the game in the end. Hopefully this is something that can be patched. The soundtrack has some catchy acoustic songs that I found myself enjoying quite a lot. The battle theme in particular was one of my personal favourites. There are no anime headbanging punk songs here, just a relaxing instrumental score that plays according to the context of the story. The game is voiced in Japanese, which may not be to some gamers' liking, but the narration is well spread out and I felt its use added to the ambience and tone of the story, as it managed to add sincere emotion to the plot. The visuals and storybook theme of the game both complement and suit the gameplay massively. It's probably the strongest feature of the game, and some aspects really make this world come to life. A couple of stutters and a crash do affect the score slightly, but visuals score 18 out of 20. Audio is pretty decent overall, with sound effects probably being the weakest aspect. Although this is an RPG, the game is first and foremost a fairy tale book, of which its music sets the tone accordingly, and audio gets 16 out of 20.
Scoring, I don't know. Something
The Cruel King
weird
and the
for a
Great
game.
Hero cost £26.99 and regional equivalents are on
used to
your
the
screen
10 out of
now.
10,
There
you
is
know.
a physical edition that includes a hardcover art book, digital
Oh, this is cool. Storybook edition. Hardcover art book. You also get a plushie. Adventures of the Great Hero hardcover art book. Scores of Bravery digital soundtrack. Nice. 15cm Great Hero plushie. And a collector's box.
soundtrack and a 15cm Great Hero plush. This can be found online from most retailers. I would say this is fairly priced considering the gameplay, the visual finesse, and the care and attention that has been given. Time to completion is variable, of course, as with most games in the genre, simply down to how many side quests are carried out and your skill level. Most people though are probably looking at around 12 hours plus, if not more, again as I said, depending on how many side quests you take on. There is a lot of charm and polish here, although the lack of challenge may put some people off, and value scores 15 out of 20.
I'm used to my JRPGs having another 0 at what you said.
To conclude, The Cruel King and the Great Hero is not a
120 hours
AAA
plus.
title, but it brings a feeling of high production value and charm, albeit with a few missteps along the way. Not knowing what to expect from games is part of the fun, and this one had me exploring and helping as many villagers as possible. There's plenty of badges and artwork to unlock, not to mention completely filling that monster dex. Many will find this a simple affair, but it has the right mechanics, length and charm to be highly enjoyable and at least accessible for younger players. The developers have played it quite safe, and the addition of a few more complex mechanics, specifically during battle, could have made these sections less tedious. If you love a story-based RPG that doesn't necessarily outstay its welcome, this could be one to grab now or during a sale. Just don't let it fall through the cracks of the eShop, as it does deserve your attention.
16, 16, 18, 16, 15, to a grand total of, I don't know.
The Cruel King and the Great Hero gets a switch up score of 81%. Thank you everybody for watching this review, I hope you enjoyed it. Please do remember to leave a like if you did. This one was actually written for us by Asdin over at Grinny Wolf Games, so thank you very much to you Asdin. Please do check out his channel, there is a link to it in the top pinned comment. A quick thank you.
This is the first time I featured the channel that also features the channel in whatever.
To our Patreons as always for your continued.
Yeah, okay. Go check him out if you like the video. Other than that, I don't know. Let's continue. We got the We got the Elder Scrolls Online Ascending Tide DLC.
I have a mission for you,
I have a mission for you. Everything's so loud today. I'm sorry, guys. Oh, now I know why everything's so loud today. Fuck!
This adventure will take you to places long forgotten. And to the very
We should be good now.
heart of a new and deadly enemy. To defend the natural order against those who would see it.
Ooh, kitty cat. I like that sound. Wait, is that how the game looks? First person view? Ooh, nice ship.
Are you ready to go? Where you've never gone before?
Legacy of the Prince. Crab dance? Wow, there's a lot of stuff. Ground crate and more. New pet, new costumes. New mount and pet. Okay, this one has me intrigued. This intrigues my fancy right here. This looks like a CRPG. Maybe. This one's called Black Geyser. Here's the official launch trailer. I think I've heard of Black Geyser before. Oh, this is definitely a... Oh my god, the graphics suck. How old is this game? I mean, I don't mind the graphics. I don't mind an old looking game if it's cool. Oh, it had voice acting. Sit down, giant. Oh, this could be cool.
Quiet, you. Didn't the Duchess ever teach you to keep silent when noble business is being discussed?
This looks like an indie CRPG. Graphically, it doesn't have to be the prettiest thing. If everything works perfectly, right? The gameplay is good in these kind of games. You can get by shady or awkward looking graphics. Black Geyser, Couriers of Darkness, March 17th. That's the end of the week, I think. Cool. Interesting. Very interesting. As we're getting close to our end, I've got two interesting things to look at. First of all, we got Wife Quest. Yes, chat, you've heard me right. Wife Quest. Waifus. Oh, jump and slash into a retro side-scrolling adventure. Explore diverse and dangerous something lands. Oh, this could be cool. Buy useful items. Looks good. Looks good. So it's a side-scrolling. Oh, there's different. Oh. Pew pew pew. Apparently, it's only on the PlayStation consoles, so that's also a thing. But it looked cool. And lastly, here's Heroes Hour, an official launch trailer. I gotta say, I really want to try this game. I don't know when I'm gonna get to. It's apparently a combination of old school pixel style graphics implemented in a what was that game called? Heroes of Might and Magic, with an auto battler or something of that sort. Yeah, wait, see? They just battle. The battles are not turn-based, but you do have a ton of factions and maps and 22 hero classes. Okay. 200 plus what? Huge. Oh my god. Hero Hour. Out now. Oh, I'm guessing it was a alpha game or something of that sort. Nice. That's cool. Hero Hour. Alright. As I am done with the Monday section of catching up on all of the gaming related trailers and news tidbits, there is a lot of hype regarding Core Keeper lately, so we will be checking that one out this week. Other than that, I have decided to kind of redo some of the things that we're doing on the channel, but I'll keep that in a later discussion with you guys. For you guys right now, what you need to know is that I thank you for watching this section of our stream, and I hope you stay tuned for more. We're going to be going into Guardians of the Galaxy, and for those of you that are watching outside of Twitch, thanks for watching, and yeah, keep on enjoying games and all that.